wow. Because why not?
Haha.
This
We're
week
back.
Is this week 9? I think it's week 9.
Something like that.
I think this is episode 9. I'm pretty sure it is. And it's raining. Cool. Not cool.
Because I'm injured, I'm sick, I'm confused. So, another day in paradise, you know?
Perfect.
Yeah.
I am not injured. I'm currently post-sick, and I feel pretty good-ish. And inspired, but in contention with my job. So that's always just a blah for me. And as we were talking before this, we are winding in this episode with something that is close to my heart, and that has been a topic of interest for a lot of my life.
Yeah.
Magic.
Magic.
Do you believe in magic?
Yeah, absolutely. I may not have said that a few years ago, but now, for sure. I think even just like looking out at the world, looking out at the like material of things, I'm like, wow, this is like a magical world. All of the plants and animals and clouds and rainbows, space phenomena, whatever, like it does feel magical in a very like real or material sense, I guess.
It's interesting that you say when you look out at the world, we don't just go, oh, well, that's just the world, or that's just real. We have to go, oh, it's magical. Like it's extra sensory, even though it is regular sensory.
Yeah.
But this makes me think a lot about, we are, with culture and civilization, the way we structured it, we've taken a lot of the magic out of how the natural world has us, or has had us, before all of this was built. So when we go out into it, we're like, whoa, this is magical, and this is so extrasensory, but really this is how we were originally with the land.
I mean, it's kind of like, as we've talked, or even recently, I had a friend from out of town visiting here, and they always like look at the nature in the area we live in, they're just like amazed. They're mind blown. They're looking at hills, and they're like, look at that mountain, and I'm remembering it for the first time through their eyes, and I'm like, oh my god, this is magical.
Yeah.
Whereas I get desensitized because I'm around it all the time, I see it all the time, and
Yeah.
it's still magical to me, I still appreciate
Yeah.
it, but I forget what it's like as a first timer, where you're just like, whoa,
Yeah.
damn.
I feel like I've always thought this about going to Switzerland. I don't know why that country specifically, but whenever I see pictures of it, I feel like I would land in the airport, get in a car to drive to the first village, and just be like, whoa, I'm in the mountains. Even though we have all of that kind of vista here, I always felt like, oh, I want to see like Swiss houses up on the top, and like their little sheep roaming around and waterfalls. And I feel like that's what people visiting here get. They're like, what? You just drive out to this in 20 minutes?
So then I guess it's the first thing we're touching on with magic, or magic has this, or novelty is magical. There's something magical about novelty and newness, and even though you've seen mountains before in your hometown, when you see a new set of mountains, they feel somewhat magical.
Interesting. I actually want to, because I wrote this down for this, the definition of magic is the art or practice of using charming spells, rituals to attempt to produce supernatural effects or control events in nature. So with relation to that, I think about nature as symbolism. Like when I look at a mountain, I don't necessarily see like just a rock. I see the shape and the symbol and how we use that symbol. Like we have that shape and symbol on the back of our crew head. You know what I mean? Like we use that symbol to be like, this is where we are in the mountains. It's a strong thing. And whenever I look at nature, I look at water, I'm like, oh, water is both powerful, water is both peaceful, water can carry me and float me down a stream, or it can smash me into a rock and end my life. So whenever I go into nature and I think about a vista or something beautiful, I think about the multiple facets of what that is. Like we can watch a sunset. Oh, this feels good and warm and blah. But if we were 10 feet closer, or Earth was 10 feet closer, everything would burn.
Yeah.
So I think about the duality of a lot of things, and I think about symbols and how I charge symbols. So I'm pretty much like thieving what you said and turning it into a thing about symbolism.
Yeah, yeah.
But that I think is the most prevalent way that I use magic is with symbolism and sigils. And sigils is essentially, the way I would do it is I will intuitively feel into an idea or something, and I'll draw a symbol that just feels like the thing. And I might put a word beside her and use that to, like, people would call that an affirmation. Like, oh, I want to have more currency in my life. And then people would be like, well, how is, like, thinking about the picture of a mountain drawing currency into your life? Because the sigil could mean a different thing for every single person.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you, what kind of ways do you use magic and symbols in your life? Like, how does symbolism
I'll come back to, but magic, for me, actually, I would say I use it the most at work. I work in a restaurant setting. I'm a server right now, and I deal with all sorts of people, generally mostly lovely people, but also difficult people sometimes. And like every day before work, and this is from another thing that we've done before called hemisync, which is maybe, I think we touched on it before, but also for a different episode. I use like a rebel or a bubble of sorts, and every time I walk into work, I like pop my bubble inside the restaurant, and I say a little like prayer of sorts, a magic prayer. I'm like, please just bring me nice, kind, generous people, hot babes, and yeah, people that want to have a good time and eat some fun
hot
food.
Wow.
I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, I say little like, yeah, I feel like I do little magical things at work to make it a better experience for myself and everyone that I work with, and then therefore everyone that comes in. And like, I have no evidence to know if that actually works or not. I might say that and then completely forget that I did that little magical ritual, and I might have difficult people come in. It might not go my way or whatever, but it still feels like a magical ritual of sorts that I can bless the space and like try to put a positive like spin on the rest of the night.
Interesting. And no one there knows.
No.
Okay, if that's a version of your simple magic ritual, what's an advanced version for you? Like if that's like the bottom of the barrel magic ritual that you would do in a daily way, what's something that's a bit more charged for you?
I think something that's more charged would be like this exercise that I've done before, where you're, as someone who is currently single and dating, where you're drawing in a type of person that you would like to meet and like to interact with, and you're maybe drawing and you're journaling and you're writing down, at least for me, not just like one words anymore, but you're expanding on that and you're trying to like formulate an energy signature that you would ideally like to interact with. And that's probably one that I put more like time and effort into. And even sometimes it feels like a throwaway. Sometimes I'm doing it and I'm like, I don't know. And sometimes I do it and I look back at it and I'm like, oh, that was actually really specific. Those are some nice like phrases and words that you wrote.
Like their voice is, what was it?
Hypnotic.
Hypnotic.
Yeah.
They have a hypnotic voice.
Yeah.
Man, to have a hypnotic, I think about that a lot too, because we all have a different perception of what a hypnotic voice is. That's the funny part, is being like, oh yeah, hypnotic voice. Well, what you think auditorially or phonetic, no, what's the word?
I think phonetically.
Is it phonetic?
Yeah.
Like the sound of someone's voice, what you think sounds good, I will be like,
Yeah.
But then this tune, I think the same about looks, but
Yeah.
I also do that same ritual. I guess, is that a ritual? Where you write down, but see, I'm still in the simplified format where I will write down, I had a relationship last year, as you know, and I fully believe that relationship was partially called in by what I wrote down. And maybe there was a part of me that really, when I read it, was like, I was putting that person onto it and being like, look, she's all these things. Then after I was like, well, she wasn't all those things, but she was a lot of the things. So I go back and forth all the time of like, is this working or not? I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I can't be like, yeah, you set an intention and then it just comes to you. I don't know. but I choose to believe and I choose to hope that we are strong enough energetic beings that if I just drew a giant line and a bunch of squigglies, it's going to work the same as me going, someone who has a good heart and someone who's energetically in tune. I think it's the feeling also of the energy of what we put into it, which is the sigil, which is why for me, I write a word and then I draw a little picture, like a sigil. And I choose to believe that it will work, or at the very least, it's helping me sort out my feeling of what I want. So whether that is the thing that's working or not, or it's me internally sorting out how I want to draw this person in and what kind of person, or even thinking deeper about what I actually want in a partnership or in a friendship, or I think either way you can't go wrong. So whether it's magic or not, I consider it magic.
Yeah. And to me, I guess that's the thing is like right now I can still admit that like most of my use and understanding around magic is still at a lower level. It's not that I'm completely selfish with it, but generally I'm trying to use it to kind of like bring more things into my life. Usually good things, or I guess remove bad things. And from what I understand from people I've talked to who are deeper down that rabbit hole, like there's further levels of magic. Similarly to like things like meditation or spiritual work, it becomes you start through this journey into yourself and to fix all these things and do these things, and then I suppose eventually it turns into this thing where you turn it outwards and use it for the greater good. But I think there is and anyone could correct me if I'm wrong, I think sort of lower levels of magic is this area where you're trying to just kind of like get things. I.e. lovers, i.e. money. I think that's sometimes where a lot of us get lost and confused.
How material.
Intention setting and manifestation, it's often attached to these like this desire, this thing that we want, and then when it doesn't happen right away, like what you're saying with that time lag, you're like, does it work? Does it work? Sometimes it works faster, maybe, or sometimes it works slower. Like,
well, this could even tie into the episode we did on synchronicity. Is that I feel like magic is wound in with the concept of synchronicity, because there is, whether it works or not immediately or not, I do feel that the more that you generate thought and idea and pattern and sigils and intentions and affirmations around a concept, those concepts do get closer to you. Yeah. And I think the people and the experiences do cross your paths eventually. And the time, I mean, it's a whole other rant to go on, but like, what is time? Like, how do we, what is fast? What is slow? We're living in a world where everything is fast.
And getting faster.
Or
at least the time between you maybe thinking about something or envisioning it or whatever, and the time it takes to get that thing is...
At the very basic level, if someone messages you and then, or you message someone and they don't respond for 4 days, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Yeah. You read that, like, why aren't you responding? No one's that busy. No one's that busy. You know, straight up. If I send you a message and you take 4 days to respond, fucking wake up. But at the same time, back in the day when you just had even phones that had no text ability, if someone called you, like, oh yeah, I'll talk to you in a few days. You weren't like, a few days. Yeah. You were like, call me tomorrow. Like, what do you mean? Or like, come over, you know? Yeah. So our expectation is now changing with the rapidity of information. So we have internet, we have internet on our phones, and we have access to everything, that we now have the expectation that we want things quicker, whether it's a text from a person or the love of my life or the job opportunity I want, you know, like time's ticking, we want everything faster and now. But that's where I've been like, whoa. Okay, I need to like, you know, I need to meditate on this. I need to sit back and really like think. This book that Alex recommended to me that I'm reading, The Untethered Soul, going back into the seat of my consciousness and being like, okay, what is all this passing through me? Because the me isn't this flesh puppet that's like, it's the thing like deep that's seeing everything cross into it. So I'm like, well, what is time from that place? It's irrelevant. Yeah. It's irrelevant. So I think that is the slowing down, is going, the deeper I can sit in peace and silence and reflect on things, the perception of slowness happens more. And I sit in that, and I think the magic that I do works better from that place. So if I'm going to write a sigil, or I'm going to like set an intention or an affirmation, the more I sit back from that seat and see everything coming in, the more I can be like, oh, shift this here, shift this here, shift this here. And now it's in correct alignment for things to come in. I can't make the things come in. I personally cannot make anything come in. I think we're powerful beings, but I don't think I can be like, unless I grab you and pull you over here. But again, that's not going to work, because if you intentionally don't want to go over here, you're going to go back over there. You're going to don't touch me.
Yeah.
Right? So you can correct your alignment, and then the things will draw into you. If you try and force things in, yeah, you can pull them close, but they're going to go boom.
I like that. I feel like what we're getting to is like magic. Magic has more to do with like us and our flesh puppets taking the action, and this use of like charms and sigils and even a wand or a robe or these like material things to like set the stage for synchronicity to pop off.
For that layer of reality that's happening with us and without us. Like it
feels like we do have to do something or set the stage or invite it in, and then the synchronicity can like popcorn in that place.
And that's funny, because if you went up to someone you don't really know, like, hey, do you practice magic? They'd be like, fuck you talking about? Like, what do you mean, like card tricks?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, a little rabbit comes out of a hat. Like, no, not that kind of magic. Like ritual magic. But then again, you say ritual magic, it's like, oh, you a cult leader? Right? Like, we have all these associations to the word historically that have been like, burn the witch.
Yeah.
Right? You can't talk about magic and be like, oh, what a beautiful thing that you're creating rituals in your life that's drawing good people and good energy and good experience and opportunity and support. It's really interesting when I think about talking about magic, because it's not something I can openly talk about with everyone, because they're like, there's a lot of judgment around it. Like, that's human nature, we judge everything.
Yeah, and it's got like hippie and woo-woo connotations, but I've had plenty of people that I respect be like, like the Bible is a big book of magic. It's a big grimoire full of spells and full of
spells.
You know,
I mean, you could say the same about the Quran or any of those those ancient writings. Is that they in their own way are doing magic that they believed in. Whether I agree with that or not is irrelevant. That it's been around for a long time, that we're trying to draw things in and we're trying to tell stories around it, to be like, read the story over, the Bible, you read the story over and over and over, and they can quote it, Matthew verse 13, but like people can like quote it because that's their version of using the magic for themselves. Yeah.
Or even like indigenous societies, reading things in nature, in the clouds, or
an eagle flew over and dropped a fish.
That means it'll be and it's like
fertility.
Cool. Yeah.
I should go home and fuck my wife. Yeah.
And in that way, they're drawing it in, or just saying it matter of factly, and then affecting their reality and making it so.
And then it goes down to the very basic, we're all meaning-making machines. Yeah. We're just looking out at the world and be like, there's meaning, but it's just a bunch of beautiful things happening, like a sunset or,
I mean, even the notion, like, in Buddhism, that, like, the human birth is pretty rare and pretty magical. Like, you think about the statistics of all the sperm cells and all the eggs and whatever, and it's like that you...
And how many births don't work?
Yeah, that you popped out as this, as this perfect thing, and, like...
Yeah, and then a soul gets zapped into that little thing, and it grows and falls out of you, and then like, I'm talking now, I'm making sound, and now I'm a world-class singer. Like,
yeah.
When you actually think about...
So honestly, the older I get, it's like, how can I not believe in magic?
Yeah, how can I think how did I get... Like, I am magic. I think we all are. That is my belief, is that we are as magical as a tree growing, as a sun setting, as a waterfall. And there's that dystopian part of the world right now, pessimism, where it's just like, we're the infestation, we're the cockroaches, we're the filth. No, we're not. If that is what you believe, then that is probably what you are. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what you think and what you produce out your voice box is the magic you're producing in the world. So you write all the intentions you want, but also what you say, and that's a magic of itself, which is why I love singing. Just and not even words, like just the frequency of like, that's, for me, that's magic. Every time I sing or go with someone in the cave or wherever, there's not one person that goes, boring. Most people are like, whoa, that made me feel something, or like that made me think of my mom, or that made me like, like there's an effect, because that voice tool you're using is a magic box. It is creation from your thought process. from the seat,
Yeah. Oh.
right? So like when we go from the seat to the thought process to the action, which could be our hands building something or making something happen, or your voice, it's like we're all pretty much producing magic all the time. And if you become a magician, that's just you tailoring your natural human process.
Yeah. And I mean, that was built into the definition. It said in the supernatural or nature world, it's so functioning on these different planes, like magic you enact in your on a spiritual plane or whatever can have effects in this material world and vice versa.
I'm just like sitting thinking.
Yeah, it's cool.
Do you find that a lot of your friends believe in magic? Like, is that a conversation that comes up?
More and more, and I find that I try to ask it, especially when getting to know new people in general. I find that it's a really awesome, like, conversational question, just to leave open-ended. And how we started this, be like, do you believe in magic? And usually people are kind of like, what do you mean, like a magician? I'll be like, well, sure, even you could just go down that path, like, but it's funny to watch the more people think about it, the more they're kind of like, well, yeah, like, I guess so, or maybe a little bit, or, you know, but I do try to ask people. But I think a lot of it, for myself included, like I mentioned, still gets stuck in that, around manifestation. I think that's where a lot of it lives for most of us. In
Especially now with big pop culture around that.
Yeah, and even in that, you know, like, that science is, or modern day science, to put it under a big term, is supporting this belief that, like, yeah, visualization does have an effect on your cells.
Yeah.
Like, your body does feel when you sit there, and if I imagine myself standing on a podium in first place wearing a gold medal, my body thinks that's real.
Yeah.
Like, my body does, like,
Especially with
science is
practice.
supporting that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, as we progress as a society, our intellectual world is supporting things that the spiritual community is saying, and vice versa. I think it's supposed to go both ways, but
Which, like in ancient history, a lot of those things were combined. You know,
Yeah,
the science,
that's true.
the science and the religion and the magic,
Yeah.
all of that was kind of
and like shaman figures
alchemy.
were all of them. It was like a medicine person, a scientific person, and a spiritual guy.
Yeah.
And
Which it feels like we're coming back to. It does feel like there is a rewinding of like, wait a second, like, hey, we can have conversations with the philosophers, and we can have conversations with the magicians, we can have conversations with the scientists, because in cross-pollinating those fields of study, I feel like there's a ton we can learn about what we're calling magic might just be the ethos of how reality is actually working. And there's not actually some supernatural funny question like, haha, you asked me about magic. Like, it can become something that's like, oh, imagine if everyone was just asking, like, instead of saying, do you believe in magic, everyone already inherently does. Imagine just being like, so how does magic show up for you in your life?
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, man, there has never been a sunset that I've watched and not felt some sort of magic in my field, in my body, in my thoughts about the relationships I've had or with like family and friends and intimate partners. Like, a sunset, it feels like it's always delivering me something. It's worth it for me to walk to my window and sit there for a couple minutes and watch it. So, I mean, that's...
I'd go on to say, like, I think most people do. And it might be until someone asks them in the right way or in a matter-of-fact way that they maybe feel hesitant to admit it or talk about it some more. Because it was in a conversation even with a group of people a couple weeks back, and then suddenly it got into more supernatural, and then everyone was talking about, like, how they're buying tarot decks and that they've seen fortune tellers and stuff in their own cities, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like, this was not a group that I thought would start to bring that stuff up. And maybe they're at the entry level, they just got a tarot deck for fun, and they're just, you know, they don't really know they're diving
They do
into
look
it,
pretty
but,
cool,
yeah, but all of that has a magical element to it. You know, and
it does come from
psychics
old...
and fortune tellers, and everyone was asking me, like, oh, have you ever been to a fortune teller? I'm like, no, I haven't met one or found one that I felt gravitated towards, but if I did, I would go into it, like, open-minded, and I'd be like, let's see what's up.
Do you know anyone that has been to a fortune teller?
Well, that was what that conversation that I'm talking about. That's what they were talking. They had all seen. These were friends from a different city, and they had all seen a psychic back in their old city.
Oh.
And yeah, apparently she was like the psychic, the one that people go to.
Did they believe she was legit? Like, she provided insight.
Yeah,
or...
she did. Yeah, I think for some of them, yeah, there was some insight. But again, I think it was just the funny part for me was hearing that from people that I didn't expect that they would have accessed those channels. I was like, oh, this is surprising. Like,
that makes me think that because I've met a few,
Yeah.
ironically, that they're like really good card players. That they're doing the magic card trick. That some of the fortune tellers,
Sleight
so
of
to
hand,
speak,
yeah, maybe.
they have a sleight of hand. They know
Sure.
methodologies of psychology and philosophy to like get you into a place of lucidity, or
Yeah.
where I'm like, oh, is this magic, or is this you understanding the human condition and learning about people? So like,
Yeah.
I think it's also good to be have an acute eye
Oh, of course.
for what you're looking at, what you're letting in.
Yeah.
Because I mean, have you also heard this concept? There's people who do this now. It seems very pop culture, and I actually, if you do know the source of this, please comment on it. But it's light language. They're like, like it's not an actual language that you learn phonetically and like speak.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's an intuitive language. Well, I mean, language is intuitive when you think about it. We structured a bunch of sounds, gave them meaning, and then that's what English is, or Spanish, or ancient Phoenician. Like, it doesn't matter what the language is. It's so I'm like, okay, was there credence to them just intuitively saying a language that they're purporting that is magical and doing something, or are they just making it up and you're buying it because you want to believe it because you're susceptible to be like, I want to believe this.
Right.
So it's interesting how magic can bring falsity as well. Like, magic is special and can bring some truths or relative truths that you feel, but also this whole culture of like...
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the funny thing too, because even if you were to, I assume, stand in front of like a proper magician, they'd probably tell you to be like, watch very closely, and they're still gonna fucking trick you. So it's like they're telling you that, I think a good wholesome, kind magician will be like, watch closely, because I'm gonna,
Yeah, especially if they're a
sometimes
pro.
even no matter how closely you watch, you're still like, I don't know how you...
There's pros. There's pros in everything.
Yeah.
So that's a funny one. How does magic show up to you in relationships? Does it show up in relationships? Like,
oh, I'm gonna have to think about that for a sec. How does magic show up to me in relationships?
Yeah.
I think it shows up in the kind of people I meet. I think I'm very fortunate in even my romantic adventures and friendship endeavors that I tend to meet, really aligned people, or people find me, and I feel like oftentimes people have chosen me and been like, even one of my newest recent friends, like, he just started coming into my restaurant one day, and then one day he was like, I like you, like, I'm gonna move here one day and we're gonna be friends. And then he moved here and now we're friends. And like, we're not, best friends, we're building a friendship, but it's like, I mean, it was that simple.
And you believe that's magic inherently, or that you did some sort of magic in your own being that drew that?
I think that was kind of magic inherently, if anything more on his end, because he was the one who verbalized it and was like, this is what I'm gonna do and this is how it's gonna happen. And I was just kind of like, okay, well, we'll see. And like, but I was like, yeah, I'll fuck it up, I can get down with that.
You
like,
do have to accept
we'll
it.
see what happens if you actually
yeah.
move here. Like, otherwise it's a long distance friendship, we're never gonna see each other. And then it just sort of happened.
I mean, we could even go to say clearly that the action people take is kind of magic.
Yeah.
What action they take and don't take, like what things they do and don't do in relationship.
Yeah.
Is what we notice. Like,
So, but in that way, I feel like the magic of the universe has been kind to me in rolling out aligned people for the most part. Not always, and sometimes they don't always stay for forever. It's not a permanent thing.
That's life.
Yeah.
People do come.
Change. But yeah. What about you?
I think magic has definitely shown up in my relationships, both friendships and intimate, in different ways. I've been very fortunate to choose wisely in my friendships, especially in my 30s, like bringing in people and allowing people and showing myself to people and showing my truths to people that I want, and they see that courage or that feeling, and they're like, oh, I'm drawn into that because you genuinely are that person. So I think that's so, in relationship, it's hard to say. Like, relationships are precarious because no matter how much magic I do or what intentions I set or what I show, that person is coming with their own life, their own history, their own experiences, their own traumas, their own joys, and all I can do is show up to the best of my ability, and I do come with the ethos of magic that I want to or not even that, I also want to share with them my magic. Like, I want to watch sunsets with you. I want to go into the forest and watch the trees blow and be in the water and be in the nature magic. But I also want to do magic things like I want to give you an amazing massage. Like, I want to give you an ethereal feeling massage, not just like, oh, that's a nice little boo, right? Like, I want to do something that's slow and intentional that is a magic of sorts. And same with like cooking. That's a tangent I would love to go on. Like, making food can be magic. You know, the feeling of eating grandma's cooking, you know why it feels so good? Because there's love magic in that. When they're making that, they're like, I love my grandchildren, they're gonna love this, it's gonna taste so good. Whereas when you go to McDonald's and they're like, okay, you're eating something that is void of the magic of intention and love. That, yes, it may taste good, but it wasn't created with any care. It was a mass-produced product. Whereas this is why I cook for myself a lot. Is when I'm eating, I'm like, auditory, I make the acceptance, Whereas if I'm just like, no, there's no love and magic in that. When I'm cooking for myself, and I'm like, that's a good point. Right? So I think about that and all the ways that I try and put that into a relationship, and I think I have succeeded in sharing my magic. It just hasn't worked out long term.
Fair.
And all of that magic can also push people away. That's the truth. Is like, no matter how much goodness you're putting into the ways that you are magical and doing these things, I think that can also make people look at things they don't want to look at. It can poke them in places that they haven't been poked. Like, I don't like that. So for how much goodness you can do, it can still produce negative results, respectively. So interesting perspective.
Well, then I was going to ask you, that comes to mind, what was a recent spell you've cast? Or a bit of magic that you've...
I made another sheet. I made another, a bunch, I put in the middle, so I put my name in the middle, and like, this is the kind of love Kyle deserves, Kyle has earned. And then outside of that, I put a bunch of words over days, like when it comes to me intuitively, I'll write it, I'll put a sigil beside it, and I built this page, and when I look at it, I go, and I feel what that's like, and I put that feeling out, and I just leave it there. I don't go like, it's just, that's been a recent small one, and the spell I've also put out is drawing in opportunity for my art, like to create, to be a part of some projects that truly light me up on the inside and make me feel that like I love being alive in this job, in this art form, and also like I want to work with people that have that like beating heart for like, this is amazing, this is magical, and not just people who are like, I'm here for job, I'm here for work. And I would really like to see that come to fruition, and putting a lot of mind magic into drawing in that opportunity to be supported in doing what I love doing. You know, anyone who works in the arts, that shit's hard, but fulfilling.
Has it worked in the past for you, you think?
Yeah. When I booked the first Predator movie, I was, man, I don't know if I've ever been that focused at like
wizarding.
I remember when I got the call of acceptance, I was laying there on the bed, I was dating someone, and I got the call, and they kind of faked it like, you came down to LA and we're so stoked in your performance, we're really happy. I'm like, it's the butts, and I'm like, fuck. And then all the things like, and so we would like to offer you the role of Predator, and I was like, what? I was like, fuck off. And they're like, excuse me? I'm like, no, I'm sorry, like, is this serious? They're like, we're dead serious. And I was like, I thought I put it on mute, but I didn't. And I was like, fuck!
Classic.
And she came in and hugged me, and I picked up my phone and was like, I'm sorry. And they're all laughing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I wasn't on mute. And I was like, I'm sorry. They're like, no, that's the kind of reaction that we want to hear. They're like,
Cool.
we'll be talking to you soon. And I just remember being like, wow, all that visualization worked. Or at least in that moment, I was confirmed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like a really stark example of like a lot of the intention and visualization magic that I was putting into that work. That's just a fun story because it was so poignant.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, I can think of one right away. I remember I was applying for a job, and it was actually for the 1 year that we had lived together, and we had just moved in. I applied to a restaurant nearby, and I remember I would go on neighborhood walks, and I would just stand outside the front door and be like, hire me, hire me, hire me, hire me. And then I would keep on walking, and I thought nothing of it. And then literally, just interview, hired, but like no sweat. It just happened. And I was like, did that? Like, surely, had the resume for it, whatever, all that stuff. But like, it's a job that anyone can do. That's fine. And I convinced myself that it would work.
Your job life has been very like smooth.
Yeah.
Like and people like want you there.
Yeah.
That's something I've noticed in your career. of
Low
working.
drama.
Low drama, and you do hard work, and you're just like real. And they're like, we want him back. Yeah, we want him to come back.
It's because of all the magic I do.
Yeah, exactly. If only they knew we're here like zing, 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 zing.
Just walking around wizarding.
And now we're gonna wizard you. Well, I'm gonna end it with one of these.
Yeah, this feels good.
Yeah. Slide the dunk dunk dunk. Peace.